It's a dynamic duo back in action.
One day I'm going to miss that music. One day.
I was going to ask you if 2025 is the year we're going to change the intro music.
No, I don't think so. Not this one. That one. Yeah. I'm not going to say I miss it, but there's something about it. Yeah.
It still has it, whatever that is, it's still got it. But yeah, new digs for me, old digs for you, but we've got a new guest on today.
I hope so.
Well, why don't we bring him in? Because we
got nothing better
more
to do.
colorful office than either one of us. Hey, Justin, nice to see you.
Hey guys.
Look at that background.
I know. I didn't get a chance to marvel at it before we got started here, but boy, I'm jealous. I got to get some of that lighting in mine.
Justin put up a couple of videos of setting up that place. I think you did an updated video even at one point, Justin, if I remember right.
I've done a couple of videos, and I actually have a third one in the bank that I've never slowed down long enough to do it. Probably because the room's never finished, but that's another story for another day.
Well, you had a pandemic set up. I remember you had like a theater seating in there. And
so there are two rooms.
Okay, that makes sense.
And it can be confusing because they both have my stuff in it. So I have the study. We built our house in 2018, and I deliberately did not put a desk in it because I was committed to not working from home. And then 2020 happened, and when it did, I also wanted to start making YouTube content. And there's never not sound in my house. I have two daughters and my wife, and they're very communicative with one another, and to say the least. And then I was forced to work in that room, and so I converted a space in our garage into this. This is the hobby room, and that's still the study. But they both have my stuff in it, and I still sit in those theater chairs.
Wow. You still have all of those Marvel Legends figures too, because it was unbelievable.
These are my favorite, Spidey. Keep them nearby. They call this the McFarlane Spidey, but it's actually probably more of a J. Scott Campbell design. But that's from the classic Spider-Man action figures back in the Toy Biz days.
How many of those do you have? Because I know you have more than one of those.
I think I have like close to 20. I did an army build, and I actually may have sent you a photo. I can't remember. If I didn't, I thought about sending you a photo because my collection, a lot of it is connected to Marvel Legends or action figures are a part of my story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you want to start from the beginning, Bill? Do you want to talk about like first steps and first?
Well, I figured, I know that Justin doesn't have anything in his calf gallery, and I saw Ranga through the Justin. Have you updated your calf gallery yet? Maybe that was a good place for us to start today. Yeah.
So first of all, I've stumbled into calf gallery. Who knows how many times over the years? You can't do a Google search and not find your way there eventually, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't understand it, and I certainly didn't know you guys at that time. And it really wasn't until right before OAX that world really started becoming clear to me about what calf is and who's involved and why it exists the way it exists. But really, the biggest hindrance for me to have my stuff on calf is a good scanner and time.
Mm-hmm. What if you could use an app and you could use your phone camera, and it would adjust it to look like you had an expensive flatbed scanner, and you could just push a button and it would upload.
iPhone has a built-in scanner in it. It's just not as good as I think it needs to be.
But what if CAF had an app that could do all of that for you?
Oh, well then sign me up.
Boxing Day. Let's go.
Exactly.
Kwanzaa launch. Let's do it.
That's this Thursday. After Thursday, Justin, you have no excuse not to have at least one piece in your calf gallery. And you were just showing us a piece that you got in the mail.
I'm getting one piece on the site this week. I will commit to that.
Wow.
I just love looking at everybody else's stuff, but I do understand that people.
How about one piece for every hour we talk today?
Oh, wow. I already told my wife this is easily 3 hours.
Oh, I need to tell my dog that then. That's awesome. Well, again, Bill, where would you like to start? I mean, the man's name is Justin Edward Underwood. Spidey Chew 09 was the old name. That's the name that I first saw. Spidey Hits here, Spidey Hits YouTube channel. If you haven't been to it, make sure you go. If you have any interest in Marvel cards and collectibles, that's where I learned last 18 months. That's how I got my feet wet, because I had no idea what was going on. And Justin, I look back 3 years and you had no idea kind of what was going on.
No, gosh, not at all.
It wasn't that long ago. It was just under 4 years ago.
Yeah. And I actually think, what you just said is actually part of the success of the channel. As you know, many of us came back in, a full force of collecting because of COVID. And my journey back into Marvel cards is documented on my channel. And I think people were along that same journey with me. I just happened to be pointing a camera at my face.
Right. You and your brother, Dustin, back then were doing a lot of it, right?
Yeah.
We're both twins, Bill. Yeah. I got a twin sister, though.
That's, I know. I've never met her.
Really? Oh, no kidding. We hide her from
photographs.
We hide her a little bit. Yeah.
Well, I didn't know that Justin was a twin. I mean, I had a feeling that, having seen some of the photographs that we're going to be looking at here, that there was some family ties that I was going to be learning about this evening. But when I have to say, when I look at the amount of different stuff you have behind you, most of the time, we're interviewing collectors and it's just framed art on the walls and a bookshelf, right? Lots of trade paperbacks and things, but you have an incredible variety of things behind you.
Yeah, look at that Spidey Hits sign. Do you have to pay extra for that flickering?
It's a special effect. That's
nice.
Man,
we got to find out. We got to ask you where you got that. We got to get a few of those.
Yeah.
What would ours say, though?
My twin brother made that. Had that made for me. So.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, I was impressed. Awesome. But from a collecting standpoint, Marvel Legends, comic books, and primarily Marvel trading cards are the three main items that I collect.
I know you collected with your brother growing up. You got cards growing up. I don't know if it was, like an active interest. I never really figured that out. I know that you were exposed to them. You got them all the time. I think your brother even had a comic book shop up until the pandemic, and couldn't give them away at some point, right? But you got back into them again, shockingly, not really all that long ago, like 4
years. The way I collect now, or the way people see me collect now, which is every day, right? Like it's on your mind every day. That started January of 2021. And so not very long, right? Before then, I was primarily collecting comic books and Marvel Legends. But it wasn't like I didn't want to collect Marvel cards. My brother, when Marvel cards would show up at his comic book shop, he would call me and say, "Hey, we got some cards," but they were generally the same thing over and over again, which was, 90s, 1990 to 1996 cards. And I would just fill in gaps that I might have been missing. But when I would try to figure out what was happening with modern Marvel cards, I was immediately overwhelmed anytime I would stumble into it, because it was sketch cards and numbered cards, and I didn't really understand that. And there, at the time especially, there was not a lot of content at all. There were few videos of an unboxing here and there, but nothing really consistent or specific. And I didn't find a community or a buddy to walk me through that at that time either. But Swaggle, I think I said that right, did a video. No, it was Neo, sorry. No, it was Swaggle, that's right. It was Swaggle did a video about Marvel cards were doing some crazy numbers on eBay. And they were 1990 Impel Marvel Universe cards, which I did understand. I did know that. And it just, that just kind of just sparked my interest again. Like, hey, wait a minute, I have those. they're having to come back, and I started making content around it, and then everything kind of grew from there.
But I mean, didn't your brother have the knowledge or of these things that you were kind of curious about, but knew you had no experience in? I mean, with him having a comic shop, didn't he have that already?
We both had a great deal of knowledge of 90s Marvel cards from 1990 to 1996. Neither one of us knew about modern Marvel cards at all, and he didn't with the comic book shop either. His comic book shop was called Villains, and like it was painted black and purple, like it was like a self-expression of a group of guys who, you know, were angry, you know, kind of, it wasn't really, you know, like it was next to a tattoo shop and people were smoking outside of it all the time. Like it was his shop and I was grateful he had it, but it wasn't, you know, he wasn't getting new product. It wasn't really plugged in online. In fact, the reason the comic book shop didn't have success going into COVID is because when you know everything shut down and people were not allowed to go anywhere, he sold all the comic books because he thought he was out of business because he had no online presence. If he'd have went online or waited a few weeks, he would have done quite well actually. But it's unfortunate. But he didn't know about modern Marvel cards.
James, I think he's more Gambit hits.
Yeah, Dustin. So if you want to show some photos, I can kind of share our story and the way people know it. So yeah, I've got a twin brother. Dustin and I were born in 1983, which in my opinion means that we got to we were blessed with growing up in the best generations, you know, of 1980s and 1990s. I still kind of hold the opinion that we peaked as a society in 1990s, you know, somewhere around 92, 94. You know.
Wow. Well, Bill, can we play a game here? Which one's Justin? Take a guess.
Oh boy. Well, I'm going to go with the one with the ball because the hairline looks the same.
Yeah,
you're 100% correct. I'm the fat, chubby kid. So my mom said I was born 30 minutes before Dustin. She did not know she was having twins when we were
30 born. Minutes is a long time for twins.
Yeah, yep, exactly. We were two separate sacks. We're not identical at all. My brother looks a lot like Bill. He's got long curly hair down to his shoulders to this day. Good looking guy, but we don't look anything alike. And my mom said she thought she thought something was wrong with me because I was fat, didn't walk, and didn't talk for the first year. I just sat in the floor. And so, but yeah, that's us when we were babies.
So you were like a toy for a year.
Well, so we're actually Irish triplets. So my mom got pregnant again and had my sister 11 months later. So for 3 weeks, we're all three the same age.
That's fun.
And so I was kind of set over to the side. There was the baby girl. When you think about like birth order stuff, it's kind of interesting. I have a sister that's 4 years older than me. Then I was born, and then I'm the baby for 30 minutes, and then my brother's born. I'm instantly middle child and a twin. And then 11 months later, my baby sister's born, and like, you know, I'm relegated to the corner.
And Jeff says that description still fits him, unfortunately.
Yeah, so in a way, I came out. The Lord knew I needed a best friend growing up, and gave me a twin brother. Also, a bit of competition, but here we are. You can see the reality of our childhood as we grew up. Poor is an interesting word to use.
Well, you had long sticks, you had short sticks, you had sharp sticks.
It was unstable would be a better word than poor.
I see. Yeah.
We were basically trailer park kids, moving from park to park. But at this age, we had just moved back from Elgin, Illinois. Now I live in North Louisiana. I was born in North Louisiana.
No kidding.
And I lived in Elgin, Illinois for about a year, or around the age of 4. And then we moved back, but things were really unstable. By the time I finished 9th grade, I'd been to 7 different schools in 3 states. And you know, why is that important to my collection? Well, when you, in a way, there was never a home. There was only ever your stuff you took with you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, we moved 22 times in the first 20 years.
So you get it.
I do.
You get it. And so it wasn't, hey, like this is home, like, oh, here's my binder of cards. Here's my few comic books, or here's my pride and joy, my Spider-Man action figure from my childhood, right? And my Wolverine. I keep him close by. These are literally my 3rd and 4th grade action figures. And so like those things start to take on a different meaning. And Dustin and I, we always had to share everything. There was never really, this is his and this is yours, right?
Same.
It was always, you get it.
I'm in the same house that I grew up in and was basically born in. So there you have it. I know nothing of what you guys are talking about. I've been in this room for the last 56 years, at least once or twice.
Well, I still go to the grocery store and buy an entire box of cookies because I had to share every cookie growing up.
Yeah. It's fascinating. My wife grew up in the same house her mother grew up in.
Wow.
And she's an only child. I'm one of 6 kids and a twin. So, I'm used to sharing, she's used to taking, but whatever. But we shared everything. In fact, you can see a Secret Wars book there. This is our birthday. That my dad got us a go-kart, as we call it here, and a license plate to go on it. And really around 1992, like a lot of us, at that time I'm 9 years old. That's when Marvel really starts to like find its way into my mind and my heart. With X-Men the animated series. I remember vividly like trying to make sure whatever was going on in our crazy world, I could find myself in front of the TV at 9 or 10 a.m. on Saturday morning to watch X-Men the animated series. And shortly after that was Spider-Man, the animated series for Spider-Man. And Dustin and I, when we would watch X-Men, he really gravitated towards Gambit. I gravitated towards Wolverine. Wolverine was easily my favorite X-Men. It wasn't even close at all. In fact, yeah, you can see that here with my mom made us this birthday cake here. I've got my Wolverine. He's got his Gambit. And
curved claws.
What's that?
Curved claws on that Wolverine.
Yeah. Oh, that's a great one. It's awesome. You see, I told you, Dustin and Bill, are you my brother's father?
No. It's a stretch. I am 56, Justin. So anything is possible.
That's right. No, but we were both big fans of X-Men anime series, but then I really started gravitating towards Spider-Man. So much so that in 4th grade, I convinced my dad. My parents had got divorced by this time, and we had moved again, and we lived like, I guess about 1.5 miles, something like that, away from the elementary school that we were going to. And I convinced my dad that we could walk or ride our bikes to school, because if we rode the bus, we were the first kids to be picked up and the last kids to get off, and it would mean I would miss Spider-Man after 3 p.m. And so I would literally run home from school to watch that show every afternoon. And one afternoon, Dustin was faster than me. He beats me home and locks me out of the door. And Bill, if you can make me big on the screen, I'll show you what happened next.
Okay, here we go. So
can you see this scar? There it goes. This scar that goes all the way down here. There. It actually goes
can't miss it.
all the way down here. We were living in a mobile home, and when my brother locked me out, I wanted to get in the house so bad to see that show. I punched out the window, and when I ripped my hand back, the glass was falling and literally cut right through that vein. But I was that serious about watching Spider-Man in the afternoons. And Dustin was, we terrorized each other growing up. That's, I guess what brothers do, right? But huge fan of Spider-Man at that point. And so it's Wolverine and Spider-Man. And in 4th grade, we met a young guy named Matthew. I'll say his name, Matthew Hankins, Matt Hankins. And at that period of time, we were still like trailer park kids, but he was like one of the rich kids. At least that's how we saw it. And his parents were going through a divorce. So his dad was basically allowing us to spend a lot of time with him because they were going through this difficult time. And his dad would take all 3 of us to the comic book shop, and they were buying Marvel cards and, comic books and even some Spawn cards and things like that. And that's when Dustin and I really began to be introduced into Marvel cards for the first time. And I became a huge fan of those cards. Particularly early on for me was 2 sets, was Fleer Ultra X-Men, 1994 Fleer Ultra X-Men, and 1994 Marvel Masterpieces were really the first 2 sets.
Oh, wow.
That got into me. It wasn't 92 Masterpieces because I had to go back to that. Like it wasn't the first thing, but seeing the
art then, the art really drew you in then.
100% it was the art. In fact, Bill, if you could pull up those photos again.
Let's see.
One in particular.
Should I be going backwards or forwards here?
Yeah, jump up to the Spider-Man and Wolverine.
Let's see.
It's forward.
Right. Is it forward or? Oh, sorry. Here we go. One
no,
more.
keep going.
Keep going.
Keep going. That one.
Oh, that one right there. Whoops. There we go.
This card, when I first held it as a kid, like to me, it's everything perfect about Wolverine and Spider-Man for me. Wolverine is just ferocious, pure killer if he wants to be, just an unstoppable force. But Spider-Man is completely, athletic and agile, and as great as Wolverine is, he still can't get a hit in. But also, and was a fan of kind of this more muscular version of Spider-Man, which we had begun to see in the 90s, right? A move away from like Steve Ditko. Ramita had a more muscular Spider-Man, but this Dan Lawless art on a trading card, have
you ever seen the art for this? The original
I've
art?
seen the original art. I have made an offer for the original art. Yes.
Oh, so you know who owns it? Okay.
And it's about this big. It's like it's small. And it didn't stop them from asking a big price for it. But yeah, I adore it. But also during that time, like most kids at that age, you get captivated by Todd McFarlane, who for me was initially, even though I knew he did Spider-Man, but his work in Spawn was a big influence on me, a lot. In fact, Bill, you can go back to that drawing of mine. It's got both Spider-Man and Spawn in it. So I began to draw in 4th grade as well. In fact, I remember my first drawing was actually of Hulk, oddly enough, just because I could be messy with it, didn't have these detailed lines. But I just began to draw and draw and draw. And I'm not a naturally talented drawer. What I discovered is that people like people who can draw, and they would say, good job, and that was enough motivation for me to do it. And then it kind of became this therapeutic kind of coping mechanism at night, because I would be waiting on maybe my dad to get home or him to pass out or whatever, and I would stay up and draw. And now these 2 pieces here, the Spawn was done in 1999, so I would have been in 8th grade. The Spider-Man is 2001, so I was a junior in high school. And that's actually a preliminary for a painting I did. And the painting actually won first place in the art contest from my high school, which I then gave away because somebody liked it. I wish I had it back now.
Did they ask you to draw a mural? Because the kids back then, when they won competitions, they always got to draw and paint on the walls, and it pissed me off. I was so jealous.
So if you want the full story, they asked us to submit multiple mediums. So I submitted 3 pieces. I did a watercolor of, you remember when Alex Ross did the Universe X run? and he did a version of Archangel as just Angel, but as an older man. Do you remember that?
Mm-mm.
I did a watercolor of that. I did a color pencil of Jim Lee's Bob Larkin's Magneto from Fleer Ultra X-Men 1994, Fleer Ultra X-Men, the trading card. And then I did a painting of Joe Jusko's Spider-Man from 92 Masterpieces. The Angel was, the librarian loved it so much, she took it and just took it. And I had to find it after the fact.
Welcome to the world of Marvel.
The Magneto won first place and the Spider-Man won second place because they did a blind judging of it. That way the teachers would not be influenced by which kid it was. And like I said, you submitted multiple pieces. So they actually took my first and second place and put them together for first place. And I think they paid me, I think I got like $100 as the award, if I remember correctly. But all three of those pieces were then given away, and I wish I had them back. But I still have the preliminary for the Spider-Man.
There's another original, I think, before this one, Bill, if I remember.
Yeah, go back to that one. So this is kind of fun, the way a kid's mind works. Yeah. For my mom's birthday in 1996, I think that's what that says, 94, maybe, I can't remember. I drew her Spider-Man 2099, and she held on to it for years. And then gave it back to me one day. I can only imagine why. But
that's what moms do. Huge. They always give them back. They don't want to throw them away.
Which is this piece right here. Whenever I got back into Marvel cards, or when I started collecting modern Marvel cards for the first time, I actually didn't think I could afford Peter Parker Spider-Man. His cards were already selling for hundreds and thousands of dollars for the more rare stuff. And so I was like, you know what? I'll collect 2099. My birthday is September 9th, so 9/9. I've always had an appreciation for this character, and I could kind of trace it back to my childhood. So I thought, and he's cheaper, so I would collect him. But that quickly changed once I continued into the hobby and realized I actually could collect Peter Parker Spider-Man.
Awesome. There's a colored image too, just before the card art there. Yeah, what is that, Bill?
Yeah, so what I was going to show here is like, this is the comic book that I read the most as a kid. Was this one, and really that entire series that had the comic books with the holograms on the front of them that was telling this entire Executioner storyline was one that I really appreciated as a kid. But this particular art is the kind of art that I was attracted to as a kid. Yeah, James has got it. We'll be 75. I always get confused if it's not X-Men number 25. But anyhow, Fatal Attractions. But it also connected to the 1994 trading card set. They were a lot of those trading cards really pointed back to this storyline, and so that really influenced. The style of art that I was attracted to as a kid.
Yeah, Dan, who's basically become the resident calf portrait artist, says, "Don't worry about being talented. Just keep drawing."
I love that. Hey, thank you.
That is the trick.
I appreciate that. I just want to be in creation, right?
Justin still does sketch cards. I've seen a lot of sketch cards out of you the last, I don't know, 6-8 months.
Yeah,
at least from time to time.
Well, so the story goes at about age 13, I discovered female, and
go to that black and white Ileana pic there, Bill. Yeah,
there you go. I'm gonna tell you, I was hooked day one. Yeah, I never had a chance. And this is my wife, Jamie. This is her at age 15. But her and I, we started dating at age 14 and 15 in 1999. We'll tell our grandkids that we, dated last century, right? But in 1999 we met, and my kind of nerdy love for all things Marvel really started to kind of be packed away, right? Put into a big. I actually still have this big Tupperware bin that I would put my stuff in when we moved around. I still have it. It's in the attic, and it still has some of my childhood stuff. But really, everything kind of started going there. And other than drawing at school and here and there, like there wasn't really any collecting that was being done. Wizard magazine was a big part of my childhood, and that had already kind of started fading away. The magazines have started getting like smaller and thinner. And if I'm thinking about this as I'm saying it, like the way in which Wizard magazine kind of dwindled, like that's what was happening for me too as a collector kid for Marvel. And I became, insanely infatuated with Jamie, and we dated all through high school, also worked a lot. And then at what's the next slide here you got? Yeah, that's our very first photo we took together there. And I did want people to see these photos because we're going to talk about a character here in a little bit, and I want you to mentally go back to these images in your mind. But the next photo is actually our wedding day. I was 19 and she was 18. And my wife is wearing a black dress because she's about 6 months pregnant when we got married. And
she looks trim.
Yeah, no, she always looks great. But my wife is super honest. She's like, you can't wear a white dress. You got to be a virgin to wear a white dress. I'm pregnant. I was like, yes, ma'am. I found out she was pregnant the day before I walked across to get my diploma in high school. So so when I got my high school diploma, I knew I was going to be a dad. And so I went to work immediately. In fact, what I'm wearing here the day we got married is what I wore to work that morning. I went to work I worked from 2 a.m. to 11 a.m., an 8-hour shift. On the way home, stopped by the mall and bought this wedding ring because I thought it looked like a Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, one ring to rule them all. There it is.
I was like, yeah, this is because you remember Lord of the Rings came out in 2002. I got married in 2002.
Yeah,
and so that was top of mind back then.
You're telling us a story about your wife and getting married, and Manu's trying to steal the limelight, talking about how the two of you got together.
yes, Wizard brought us together too. But love you, man, very much. But yeah, I worked, and that same day, that afternoon, got married, and we spent a night in a hotel in our hometown, and then I got up the next day and went back to work, and been working ever since. But that was to that needing to make two incomes because my wife's never worked. She's never worked outside the home, is the way I should say that, and she's never brought in income. She's always taking care of our daughters. So that meant that I had to make two incomes, right? And when you're having to work at that much, it's tough to collect. It doesn't get any of your attention. It doesn't give you any of your focus. And so for the next, so that from 2002 until about 2016, 2017, all I did was work. And then you see my girls here in the next photo. We had two daughters. That's Madison on the right-hand side, over my left shoulder. Ashlyn's on the other side, and they're 4 years apart. They are now 22 and 18. It's hard to believe. But around 2016, 2017, I started to actually have a little money left over each month for the first time in our adult life. And I started thinking, you know what? I might actually have some time for me for once. And my wife, God bless her, but when you're a stay-at-home mom and you work from home, that is your domain. Like, it's her kingdom, right? I come and visit every night. She lets me stay. I get to leave and then go to work and come back home. She did not want anything nerdy or Marvel related in her house at all. And yeah, that's her now. But whenever we got ready to build our house, she basically gave me permission to have a room that I could have my stuff in. And whenever, there you go, there's the study. Whenever we came to that agreement, really sparked in me this look back to my childhood, right? Of what I loved as a kid. And, what I would say about that is if a lot of people have difficult childhoods. That's not uncommon, right? Unfortunately, that's not uncommon. But what almost all of us have is we have some bright spots, right? These things that we really, that were bright spots in our childhood that we really loved. And for me, it was Marvel trading cards. It was action figures. It was comic books. It was the animated series of X-Men and Spider-Man. And so that's whenever I really started diving back into that. And that began with Marvel Legends, because I thought, I wanted something I could collect that I could physically see and enjoy. I didn't want it to go into like a cabinet or a drawer or a safe and be locked up. I wanted to be able to sit down and look at it. And so that was that. And that ultimately, again, that led me to creating content. I'll save everybody that story, but I started Spidey G09 under an alias, thinking that I didn't want anybody local to know that I had this nerdy Instagram account or nerdy YouTube channel where I took photos and videos of action figures and things like that. But eventually January 2021 rolled around and in a way rediscovered my love for Marvel trading cards. And I brought up this trading card as kind of my first piece of original art to share with you guys, because whenever I started collecting Marvel trading cards, gosh, how do I say this? Casper, you'll keep me from getting in trouble, won't you?
Yeah.
So it felt like I was uninvited, right? It felt like I had stumbled into this room and I was like, wait a minute, do I belong here? And it really felt like there was like this very rigid way of thinking that was allowed. Like you were allowed to, and it was okay to collect in this very specific way. But if you didn't ask the question the right way, it might have been a good question, but if you didn't ask it the right way, or if you didn't also agree with a certain answer or a certain way to do it, there was immediate pushback for any kind of thought about that. And the other thing that I noticed is that there was like, I'm going to use the word leadership, and that word means a lot to me. So, maybe you hear it the way I mean it, but it felt like there was a lack of leadership in that space. There was certainly leadership, but that leadership was like protectionism, more of, we don't want to see things change. That's just the way it occurred to me, whether right or wrong. That's just the way it occurred to me. And I was like, you know what? I really feel like this space could really use some leadership where people are exposed and can learn and really discover, something that's really pretty special, in my opinion. I think Marvel trading cards are pretty special. And I brought up that first card because if you're familiar with sports, it's an homage to Michael Jordan's rookie card, the 86 Fleer. Mm-hmm. And I was like, why can't these worlds coexist? The people who collect sports cards and like Marvel, why can't they coexist? Well, I think they can. And this was kind of like an olive branch of me saying, hey, sports card fans, you can like Marvel cards too. It's totally okay. And I had this commissioned by Ash Gonzalez. And I really like it because I've often said that I think Spider-Man is the Michael Jordan of Marvel cards. He is the GOAT.
He's got a better vertical than Michael even.
He does.
It was nice to see Ash's name on there. Yeah, honestly, at first, I thought it was just a card that had been printed back in the day. I didn't realize it was a painting at first. Yeah,
it's he did a spectacular job. This is actually, oddly enough, this has now been duplicated multiple times, and other people have taken this idea and really ran with it with other cards, other prints. Like it's really kind of got its own little life now. But that was the first one, which was great.
That was cool seeing Ash's name on there. I don't know his history all too well just yet, but clearly he's been around.
OAX. There you go.
Yeah.
Yes. I got the first mention.
That's right. the next card really, this is not a piece of art, right? This is
that's a very serious card, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, so
it's so shiny I can barely look at it.
So here I am in 2021. You know, I'm this guy who really doesn't know what he's talking about. That's pointed a camera at his face and started talking about Marvel trading cards, and you know, really people are really not paying attention, I don't think, at that point in time. But as life and luck would have it, I was able to obtain the gold precious metal gem 1-of-1 Spider-Man, which at the time that I received this card, there had only been 2 of this card ever created. Not this particular one. There was a 2015 1-of-1 gold precious metal gem and the 2017 gold precious metal gem. And this one had been hidden. People had never knew it even been pulled out of the pack until I revealed it one day. But cards like this, they have a way of legitimizing you, even if you're not legitimate, right? So me as a collector, as a Spider-Man collector, I by no means have the best or the most Spider-Man cards at all. There are plenty of people with much better, much bigger collections. But because I obtained this card and I called myself Spidey G09, it gave me that cachet. Does that make sense? Even though it wasn't warranted, it just happened. And obviously it was a dream to, I never thought I could have a card like this. And at the time that I got this card, you know, the highest Marvel card sale ever was like $36,000, which is a lot of money. And when that happened, people were like, well, that's stupid. It should never sell for that. But by the end of 2021, you know, I was getting much higher offers for this card. But it really solidified kind of my, my position in the hobby as a Spidey guy, right? Whether I deserved it or not. Yeah, here it is slabbed up. I now only own a portion of this card. Somebody gave me a lot of money for the majority rights of it. And, which kind of gives me the best of both worlds. And that's a longer story for another day. And part of the gift of me selling this card is what you're about to see here, which is another piece of art.
Who did this?
I'm going to look at the name because it's,
yeah, that was a very cool idea, Dad.
The name is that is not in order. Let me get this in order here for you guys.
I see Marcus says part owner. It is a curiosity. It does happen in art, though.
Yeah, pretty much.
I'll share part of the story. Have y'all seen on Netflix a show called The Golden Touch with Ken Golden?
Ken Golden, yeah.
So when I sold this card, it was not agreed to be partial ownership. It was for full ownership. You know, they would own it. I would have the money, but it also was going to include me being on that show and that sale happening on that show. After about 2 months of the plans delayed, I was like, because it got weird because, you know, when a card like this moves, it makes moves like people know about it. Right. Mm-hmm. Well, we were trying to keep it under wraps so that it could be on the show. Then people started asking me, hey, do you still have that card? And it just got weird. Does that make sense?
Of course.
And so I was like, hey,
do you know the world we come from?
What's that?
Do you know the world we come from?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Makes perfect sense, Justin. 100%.
So I was like, hey, since I'm getting drug around about this show and I'm ready for the world to know I don't have it because I don't like, it made me feel like I was out of integrity. I want ownership back in the card and we're done with the show. And that was negotiated. And so that's how that happened. But as part of that whole deal, I got this painting as a gift. And I wanted you to see it on my kitchen table to get a sense of the scale of it, how big it is. And it's actually metal. Like it's actually made of metal as well.
Well, it's really, really well done. The textures are cool. Like I know graffiti artists that do textures like that mimic rail cars with graffiti on them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it made me wonder.
His name is Matt Rektorski, Rektorski. Rektorski, I think is how you say that.
Have you ever looked him up?
Oh yeah, and he does a bunch of these versions.
Does he go by Rek?
He
R-E-K?
goes. His Instagram name, I actually have that here. Oddly enough, because I thought this might come up. He goes by Art by Mr. Art by Mr. ARTBYMR. But super cool, and it's a piece that I'm happy to have.
Mm-hmm.
What's next here? Oh, so the next piece is going to go back to 1994 Blue Ultra X-Men. So here's that card graded in a PSA 10. This is not my childhood card. Obviously, I did not care for my stuff growing up. I held it and loved it and cared for it and touched it over and over and over again. But I am happy to have a PSA 10 version. When I wasn't able to get the painting, I reached out to Dan Lawless and actually had him on my show, on my YouTube channel. And he's a great interview, great conversation with him. And, it's always interesting for some of these artists in the 90s they don't realize how much people still appreciate their art, 30 years later. Right. And he agreed to do a painting for me, a drawing for me, kind of remaking, but in a new way, this card. And that's our next slide. And so he did a black costume of Spider-Man in the yellow and black suit, the tiger suit, in kind of a similar fighting pose, a little different. So I'm really happy to have that, even though I don't have the original art. I still have this original art from him.
Very nice.
And look, I'm still naive to just think, wow, I can't believe this ever happened. That I was able to talk to that artist who made that card for me that I loved so much as a kid, who then took the time to recreate something or to create something new just for me.
Reinterpret. It's fantastic. And is he still active? Is he active in comics? Because I don't.
No, I don't think
really.
So. And I would need to go back and really listen to the interview afresh to give you a good update on him. Something tells me he's working in like design, or so he's still doing art, but not.
We did do an interview in Art Sale with him a couple of years ago, and he's a fun guy to talk to and a very genuinely nice guy. But yeah, I don't remember what he was working, as professionally what he was doing, but he's pretty proud of the work that he did in comics.
He should. I don't know. Maybe it's just my nostalgia kicked in, but that original Spider-Man versus Wolverine is still some of the best ever, right? And this is an interesting card. This is a buyback, so I won't go into all that is, but it's numbered out of 50, and I like to have it near my art there. So cool. You can see the numbering on that.
The back of it, yeah.
Yeah. And he gave me this fun little note whenever he sent it to me. I just love this kind of stuff. When an artist does something they don't have to do at all and personalize things. Excuse me.
We might have a Bub Crawl shirt that looks something like that soon, Bill, right?
I do not know what is planned for it, but I certainly hope it does have a similar feel to that.
Mm-hmm.
You're absolutely right.
All right, so what we have here, yeah, that's right. Manu's claiming it. So, when I got back into the space, I eventually made a great friendship with Fausto Barrio Nuevo, also known as Comic Card Hive these days. And he told me, he's like, Justin, the shiny number stuff, people are going to talk about that all the time, but the really good stuff is these true one-of-ones from the 90s, which are the first ever sketch cards by actual comic book creators. And I spent the next 2.5 years looking for just even the opportunity to buy a 1997 Fleer Ultra Spider-Man pack inserted sketch card. And you would look at this and go, that's not great art. That's not detailed and, not great. But to me, it's fantastic because of what it represents and how hard it was for me to acquire it. And by the way, the only reason I even got this is it was on some random auction site that I've never even heard of, that I stumbled on it. And I couldn't even tell you how to get back there. Like, that's how random it was. And it still cost me almost $500. And if it had been anywhere else, eBay or, Heritage or whatever, like it would have been very difficult. But I love it. I love it because it has Spidey and Venom on it, and it's kind of got this nice little story, even though it's just a sketch card. Super, super happy to have it.
I'm just curious, are there like population numbers that are known for this? Like how many Alex did? Do you have any idea?
I do not know that. I was listening back to Fausto's interview with you guys last week. He said even in that interview that there are numbers out there, but I think like maybe only, I don't want to misspeak, but a much smaller pool of artists did the 1997 sketches as compared to the following year, 1998, when there was a sketch in every box, right? There was a sketch per case, and there was not many cases.
Oh, that's rough. Yeah, that's rough. And that stock has embossing on it, huh?
It does, yeah. So you can see that there at the bottom and on the back. I got a picture of the back here for this one.
You got the back picture, Bill?
Yep.
There it is.
See that embossing at the top. The artist actually drew the sketch upside down, so you have to flip it like this.
Alex is still that way.
Works
I've never met him. I've loved it.
He's a great person to talk to. He has the energy of 5 humans.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Very cool.
With any luck, we'll have him at OAX in 26.
Oh, I'd love to kind of just walk this card up to him. I know he won't remember it, but you never know. This card, I was able to actually acquire this from our friend Jose, and
this is a huge card.
This is a huge card, and look, let's just get the obvious out of the way. This is a pack pulled John Romita Sr. Spider-Man. I love the fact that the card has this comic book trade dress at the top. It's unbelievable. It came out in 2001. And it's actually a Topps Marvel card. That's going to be a thing moving forward. Now that Topps now has the Marvel trading card license, and Upper Deck no longer will have it after December 31st. But what's really special to me about this card, outside of the obvious things, is that a collector like Jose, who's been at this, he never stopped. Where I took this break to work and raise a family and got disconnected and had to get back in. Someone like Jose stayed connected and collected the whole time and really understands what is special. And he basically hand selected me to be able to own this card. He could have sold it to a number of people and likely even gotten more money than I paid for it. So it'll always be really special to me that he thought enough of me as a Marvel card fan, Spider-Man fan, that he would give me the opportunity to own this.
That's great. I mean, nobody draws Spidey like John Romita Sr., so that's fantastic.
And Jose has a very, very scary brain.
Yes, he does.
He's unbelievable knowledge. And it's immediately available to him. Any question, any prompt, any detail, any stock, anything. It's insane.
And he's quite a few steps ahead too. So this one I was not particularly chosen for this one. I had to pay dearly for it, but I had to have it. Not only because, I love the pencils. The pencils kind of hold this really pretty special place in my mind, because it's fragile, it's older, but here, John Romita did this for Spider-Man Archives. And I bought this in a combination of cards at the National, the largest trading card convention, probably in the world right now. But this one just to me reminds me of, issue 50, first King, Spider-Man No More, where he's looking over his shoulder, right? Mm-hmm. And that's a John Romita cover. And for him to probably channel that when he's doing this sketch card, to me is pretty special.
Can I ask for one-on-one cards like this, even like one-on-one cards, non-sketch cards, what's the general feeling with grading? I thought grading on one-on-ones was kind of like an optional or really like not required kind of thing.
Well, so there's a number of thoughts behind it. Number one, I think authenticating is really important.
Yep.
And especially with the essence of what Marvel cards are, they're trading cards. It's not like Pokemon or Magic the Gathering where there's a gamification where you play it that impacts its collectability or value. For this, it's this authenticness of what it is, and then you can trade it. So grading makes it easier to trade if you can trust the authentication process and if you can trust the grading process, right? Now, a hand numbered or serial numbered or stamped one of one that's kind of manufactured versus a sketch card in the grading space, by its very nature, a sketch card is a damaged surface. So the grade really shouldn't matter, right? But it being authenticated, if the grader really knows how to do that this was a true pack inserted John Romita Sr. sketch card that you can only get by physically opening a pack. It wasn't done after the fact or aftermarket. That part is important. Mm-hmm. And this card will eventually end up in a slab as long as I own it, just because most of my Spider-Man collection will be slabbed in a slab of some sort, whether it's PSA or CGC or whatever. But again, that's just kind of how I hold it. Other people don't. They would never put a sketch card in a slab. They wanted to buy.
Yeah, thank you.
Mm-hmm. So this one's cool. I'm sure a friend of all you guys here is Dave Palumbo, the son of Julie Bell and the Masterpieces artist for 2020 Marvel Masterpieces. I was super pleased when I reached out to him to find out that he still owned a few of his Upper Deck issued APs. AP means artist proof, which are trading card blanks that Upper Deck gives the artist to be able to do their own sketches and then sell them. And for me to be able to get a full body dynamic pose Spider-Man from a Masterpieces artist, to me is incredible.
That is very cool.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Bill, what are you thinking about when you see something like this?
Well, I'm just floored to see something in color at this size from Palumbo. You're used to his prelims that are all kind of muted tones and stuff, and so to get something
bricks.
Yeah, and the bricks too, right? They're well done. I love seeing this because I think Dave in his prelims has a lot of energy in his paintings. Mm-hmm. And I see that here, and it's so fun seeing this in color too, because I'm so used to his larger finished pieces. So to see something at this size with this much color and energy in it, it's fantastic. I've always felt Dave is an incredible artist, and this is something I've never seen by him before. It needs to be on calf.
It does need to be on calf. Yes, it does need to be on calf. It'll get there. Yeah, I can assure you. But I was super thrilled that he even gave me the opportunity. Most of these artists are busy and their commissions lists are long, and let's just be real. Your real talent typically does not want to work on a trading card size. And for Dave to say yes, he'll do it, and then to really put the amount of effort and again storytelling and the dynamic pose here is really awesome to me. Very happy to own it.
So is it rude or bad etiquette for me to ask if Palumbo still has more APs?
Not at all. And I think, I will never, comment on somebody else's commission process. That's their story to tell. Right. But, you know, I didn't get the feeling that he only had one, but I did get the feeling that he was being particular about them.
Got it.
So you know, what is this? This is not Dan Dos Santos's best work, right? But it's something I'm very, very happy to have because I got this at OAX, and Dan was kind enough to sketch me a quick Spidey.
Was this a villa drawing, or was it
no.
during OAX?
So, funny story here is it's Sunday at about 2 or 3 o'clock. I can't remember the exact time when the free sketch,
yeah.
And Dan is sitting at the Marvel card booth, right? And I walk up and I went, I'm ready for my free sketch. And he's like, huh? I'm like, well, this is the Marvel card booth and it's free sketch hour.
That wily Justin.
And I'm super, super happy to have it here. And it's interesting because, you know, we're going into year 2 of OAX, and year 1 already just holds a special place in my heart. I can't even imagine what it means to you guys with, you know, being your baby and how much work and energy and effort you put into it. But as an attendee last year,
Bill, do you remember the first OX? Because I barely have any recollection of it. I don't have very many memories. I just remember chain smoking, unfortunately.
I don't even have that pleasure, but no, I don't remember much either. Well, we were talking about we're going to enjoy OAX 2 a little bit more than we.
Thank you, Justin.
We could see we're going to remember OAX 2 a little bit more than OAX.
Well, I hope you get even half the memories that I have, but. What's interesting about it is the fondness I have of that is now connected to these items, right? And this is one of them I wanted to share.
Oh,
all right. So this is pretty crazy. A lot of you may already understand or see what this is, but you know, when you think about original art, it doesn't take long before your mind goes to, especially, you know, illustrations. It goes to Joe Jusko, right? It doesn't have to be Marvel trading card specific, but for the Marvel trading card space, he is, you know, he is the most prolific and the artist that has contributed the most significant amount of original art for Marvel cards. And, you know, you hear about the grind of doing a full trading card set, you know, anywhere from 106 to 136 pieces of original art, you know, paintings that are, you know, fully painted that you got to do. And you have to do it in a certain time frame, right? But that all started with 1992 Marvel Masterpieces with Joe Jusko. And this is the Wolverine from that set. I never thought that I would get an opportunity to own any of the original art from that set, unlike Nick, our friend who was in the chat. But when Joe gave me the opportunity to own the original preliminary art from it, so, you know, the genesis of this idea that eventually became the painting, which became the trading card, I was super excited. And Spidey was already taken. So, you know, despite what people may think because of branding, you know, branding works, Spidey hits, I do have love for Wolverine as well.
Oranga just texted me that he's volunteered to ink this piece for you.
Oh, yeah. You know what, though? If I was going to get it inked, he is a great inker.
He is.
Sure.
I would have him blue line it, but sure.
I think we're going to stay away from that on this one.
Is this Joe had let go of a lot of prelims sort of recently? Was this part of that batch? Because grabbing the Wolverine is kind of impossible.
I'm, you know, very fortunate that he allowed me to get this prior to the.
You got there's some very targeted, justified jealousy out there for you to have this.
I know, and it sucks.
That image is so ingrained. Yeah,
I get it. I understand. I would not be mad if you were mad.
I'm not. Oh no, I'm not like that. I have a twin. I learned how to share real early on.
Real early, yeah. Oh, so fun fact: this is my childhood Wolverine, though, the card.
Yeah, this is a lot of people's Wolverine.
Well, no, that's the actual card from my childhood.
Oh, no kidding. Okay, yeah. You kept it in decent shape.
Well, yeah, don't look too closely, but
you can see some fingerprints on there. Yeah.
Yeah. but it's just incredible that I could pair these two together. I did want to point out, so if you zoom in on the book, you'll see that it's the same preliminary art that he featured in the book, but in the bottom right corner, it's not signed in the version that's on the book, but it is signed on mine. He added that signature before he sent it to me.
Help me out. I know that he did these prelims, 2016, 92, what have you, but I don't think that there was an intermediary step. I thought he went from these prelims to the finished paintings. Is that right?
I don't know of anything in between it.
I don't either. Yeah.
But I can't sit here and say that I confirm that, but I think this book basically confirms that for us because he put what is the full process for him.
Right. I heard a lot of good things about the book too. People were very happy with it.
Yep.
They waited a while, but now that it's out, it's a beautiful book.
Yeah, it was worth the wait. It is. It really is a great looking book. So this is interesting. This is actually from a published original art standpoint. This is the first piece I ever purchased. Oddly enough, not counting trading cards. Okay. And this is from John Boy Myers. I had him on my channel and developed a friendship with him. And this original art is for Marvel Snap, which is a card game you play on your phone. So not a physical card, but still a card type of game. And the very first Rogue released in that game was this one here. And it's just fun. I'm sure you guys know John Boy. He does some fun work.
Great skills. This is a great piece.
Yeah, I like it. I almost thought about collecting Rogue before Magic, which we'll get to in a minute. This was one of the reasons why I thought about it.
A lot of the snap art is done digitally, isn't it? I thought it tended to be done digitally.
One of the reasons I picked this up was because very quickly they went from this to doing digital. So there isn't, at least from what I understand, unless something changed, there was not a lot of physical art, original art for Snap.
Humberto Ramos would look at this and be thumbs up, thumbs up.
Yeah, he would.
Wow. It's very skilled, like crazy skills.
So again, that's kind of my first foray into original art. And
Casey.
Yeah, so Casey Parsons, this is the first sketch card I ever owned of him. We'll see two of them here. He did this for Marvel Platinum. This is an AP. So Marvel Platinum is a set that released earlier this year by Upper Deck. It was the first iteration of that set. It did really well, surprised a lot of people. And even though it's a rather large print run, a product, it actually only had 100 sketches in it. And then those sketches were done by 7 different artists. One of them was Casey Parsons. They were called the Marvel Great sketch card. You can kind of see it faintly there at the bottom. And then each of those artists were given APs. Most of the artists were only given 1 or 3 APs. Casey Parsons, I think, ended up with 10. I think he ended up with 10 APs. He had maybe the most. And I was able to get 2 of his APs. So the APs are actually, there's really only going to be like 15 or 20 APs that exist across all the artists. And I actually have 3 of them. So
I must have seen more than 500 boxes of Platinum opened, and I think I've seen 3 sketches.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't go on, I don't go on ComC. I don't look at the inventories, but like pulled videos or friends or 3 total, maybe.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I'm in the same boat as you of seeing them actually pulled. Like you said, maybe 3 or 4. But I actually have been very fortunate to own more than that. I've had to buy them. I didn't get to pull them. So
why would they make it so rare? I mean, if it's something that
every set's different, then they have their reasoning, but it's sad. Yeah.
Did it hurt the sales for it? I mean, I guess that'd be no.
I actually thought it was quite brilliant. I don't think they should do it for every set. I thought it was actually really brilliant for this one because the artists that are on this set, you'll see here in a second, you had kind of a range of notoriety, right? But the top end of that range is Bill Sienkiewicz, Ron Lim.
The art for that set, I thought on the whole was phenomenal.
Yeah. So this is Ron Lim here, sketch card. So it really added value to the product by not overdoing it, if that makes sense.
There was enough parallels anyway.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Right. Well, just get ready. 2024 Marvel Masterpieces will only have 25 sketches in the entire product, where recently has had a sketch per box, or 4 sketches per 12 boxes, or is it 3 sketches per 12 boxes, 1 in every 4 box. Now we'll only have 25 across the entire print run. So they're only getting more rare.
We don't even get a Venom, I think, right?
No, well, you don't get a Venom piece of
Thanos.
Original.
There's no Thanos, I think, either. It's
I don't even.
It's really strange.
Yeah, not that anybody wants to hear my opinion on it, but it doesn't make any sense to me.
The rest of it looks pretty so far.
They have to be in there, but this is Ron Lim Spider-Man. But this is the big one.
Remember me when you want to sell this one on please.
Yeah.
Oh man. I know you got to see him at San Diego. Yeah.
I did.
Yeah. Isn't he great?
Really wonderful conversation with him. Yeah, he was better than I expected, to be honest with you. But yeah, this card's really special. This is a pack inserted, pack pulled Magic. And we just talked about the rarity of these cards in that set. But I mean, who else could do Magic like Bill? It's just unbelievable.
Yeah, but I mean, again, I'll take this Sienkiewicz over other published pieces. This just has something. It has something in it.
Yeah, it does. This was very expensive, to say the least. And there are a few people that still say I got it too cheap. It cost me.
This starts at $3,000.
Well, I paid $5,000 plus a 9.5 CGC slabbed Tier 4 Wolverine from 2016 Marvel Masterpieces, which is another $1,000. And they had they likely had other buyers, but the guy knew I was a fan and really wanted me to have it. But I mean, you're talking about the price range of a full painting, right? I mean, the original art for Platinum's Magic, like for the card, sold for 10, if I remember correctly. So I mean, the trading card is getting up there. It's kind of crazy, right? But that's what it took to get it.
That's a little bit of that's an area where original art, comic art collectors are never gonna get their head around, or they're gonna have to be involved in the card world for a long time. The pack pulled card, how special it is, how revered it is difficult for people that collect published comic art to really understand.
Look, I don't blame them. You know, there's a bit of lunacy to go, why would you pay that much for a 2.5 by 3 when I can have an 11 by 17?
There's plenty of lunacy to go around, by the way.
Well, yeah. And look, I get it and I respect it. And it's just, you have to kind of live in this trading card space and understand the difficulty, and those, you know, and there's a bunch of us out there that want the same thing. And then you understand kind of the supply and demand that happens from that. And part of that demand is relative to the rarity, right? This is, you know, this might be Bill's best sketch on a trading card, right? And of a character that he is significantly connected with as a creator. and this is a Willy Wonka golden ticket. You had to get lucky and pull it. You couldn't just arm wrestle somebody for it at an auction.
Yeah, exactly.
That makes sense.
Oh, I dove into this. I get it. I think
there's no AP stamp on this one, so that's
and I really should have taken a picture of the back for you. It's double signed. He did his signature on the front and the back. It's beautiful. This is pack inserted, pack pulled.
Even I like his signature. I know Bill's work pretty well. I'll just leave it at that. He could have killed this with his signature, and he didn't kill it. Bill has killed many pieces with his signature. I love his signature, but sometimes it would have made this art.
It's overstated. It dominates the art.
He did it proportionate with this one. It's great. Yeah.
It's just how he can do light. It's just beyond me. This is our friend Miles Wood. Was at OAX last year. He is one of the Marvel great artists. Like I said, there's a kind of a range of notoriety. Not that he's not an excellent artist. He obviously is. And he had 3 APs, and he was gracious enough to allow me to get one of them. And he did this did this magic for me. So super happy to have it.
And Miles is back again this year too.
That's great to hear.
Yeah.
I'm very happy to have him back.
Mm-hmm.
He was a wonderful, I think, person to have there, because clearly most of the art collectors weren't familiar with him, and I think they were just really surprised by how talented he was. And the 2 commissions he did for OAX last year were probably my 2 favorite pieces that I saw that were done as a pre-OAX commission. He's very talented.
And he's going to bring a lot of art this year. He's going to be set up at the Illustration Art Expo, and he's going to hang a lot of art. And
he's even more published this year. He had a lot of work published.
And he hinted at some pretty significant publishing coming up from Wizard. What I didn't know when we brought him in last time was that he's a student of Dan Dos Santos's.
Yeah, he is. Dan has actually become quite the teacher for a number of artists that are showing up in the Marvel trading card space is what I should say, which is really cool. And I actually almost showed one piece tonight by Ben Brady from Australia, who watched my YouTube channel, got to know Dan through the YouTube channel, started doing Dan's online classes, he was doing digital art only, started doing fully painted illustrations, and mailed me his first Spider-Man, which when you see it, you go, how in the world, how could this be your first? It makes no sense.
He's very talented. Yeah.
But Dan he's learned from Dan as well.
What we got next?
Yeah. So
that's modeled after your wife.
Yeah. I mean, in a lot of ways, magic, my fandom to magic is connected to really 2 things. I think, Castro, you've heard me talk about this, but number 1, the character magic is, you look at her story arc. She had a really difficult childhood. She was forced to go into limbo, which is kind of a version of hell, right? And is ruled by, these, demons and stuff. And she's exposed to these, what I call heavy and, kind of adult themes, right? And she develops there, eventually comes back. When she comes back, she's still a young girl, but she's kind of lived this adult life at the same time. And to me, I think, I'm a kid that can relate to that. I got exposed to a lot of heavy adult things and still had to be a 12-year-old, still had to be an 11-year-old, right? And it has an impact on you. So I feel kind of a connection to her storyline, but she reminds me of my wife in her physical appearance. That's the other thing. Blonde hair, green eyes, and a lot of her appearances, artists do her eyes differently, but
just change her personality at a snap of a finger.
She's look, she's a superhero, but she can rule hell. That's for sure.
That's sorry. Who's the artist on this?
This is
Suspiria.
Bill Ches.
Bill Ches, yeah, I think is how you say it. She's a wonderful artist. Actually,
Suspiria.
just got a piece.
Yeah, you just got the P. You just posted on Instagram, tagged the artist on it. Yeah.
Another one that's not here, but I'll show the camera. If I just got this one from her today.
Very nice.
Oh, trying to cover my face up. I love her style.
Very nice. Yeah.
But that's the same artist. And I actually have a third piece coming from her on this one as well. All right. So this is so the thing about Magic original art, the character Magic, the original art, is there's not a lot of opportunities to own art from her. Her first art shows up in trading card art, was in 1992 Uncanny X-Men, the Jim Lee set. And, I'll never get to own that. Just that piece probably today. What do you think it would go for, Casper?
I don't know.
A lot, right? A lot. But Magic kind of went away for the rest of the 90s. She died of the legacy virus, and she just wasn't around. I don't understand that, but that happened.
She's around a lot now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why? It's crazy.
I don't know. We go to the comic book store, and my girlfriend has to get like 15 back issues when we don't go for a few months.
It's really pretty incredible how much her popularity has spiked in the last 12 months or so. But
Bill, you know Jim's work, right, Bill? You must know Jim's work. Yeah.
Yeah, he's set up
very unusual to do this. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of surprising because he has a very dark.
He does.
His subject matter is usually very, very.
Put it this way:
dark is just the best way to say it. Hit that whatever's in the background on this is what a whole painting is what he would do typically, right?
Right.
You don't usually see characters in the light or having any kind of dignity in his work from this period. Certainly,
there's very little redemptive elements in his work. Most of his work is damning, right? And I'll say that I love this piece. Absolutely adore this piece. There's very few of his pieces out there.
That's a tremendous piece. Yeah.
Would have in my house.
I'll take this one too. Yeah.
But my point in telling you this is there are very few original art pieces that were made for trading cards. This is from 2019 Flair, F-L-A-I-R. And this is another example, and we say this over and over again. The card just doesn't do the painting justice, and it's hard for me to really capture this because to shine light on it, to get it to glow, also gets the glare from the glass. I don't have museum glass for this, but it's just unbelievably stunning. It's just beautiful. I'm thrilled that I get to look at it. The way I have it in my room, I sit in my little chair, my little theater chair, and it's right here to the right. It's in my eye line.
I gotta ask again though. You weren't around in 2019, so you got this years later.
Here's how I got this. How do I tell you the full story? How much do you want to know? I guess is the question.
Was it a couple of years ago that you got this, or maybe even sooner?
Last year.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you the short version. The short version is that I had the Moon Knight from 2020 Marvel Masterpieces, the Dave Palumbo Moon Knight.
Yeah.
And this piece was on eBay for like $11,000 or $12,000.
No
kidding.
Found out
who it was. What's that?
No kidding. I didn't expect that at all.
Okay. It was on eBay, and it had been sitting there. And I found a buyer for my Moon Knight for $7,000.
Lewis?
No, not Lewis. And he already had his Moon Knight.
Yeah, Eric is. Yeah.
Yep. Well, and Dan. He has the Dan Moon Knight too. So then I messaged the owner, the person that had the eBay account, on Instagram and said, "Hey, look, I'll give you $7,000 for it." And so they agreed, and I essentially just swapped. In a way, I just traded them.
That's awesome.
Money trade.
That is awesome. That's a beautiful piece. Yeah.
And yeah, just super thrilled to have it. Super thrilled to have it.
Congrats. Yeah, you might never see Jim do something, work like that again. I mean, that's
look at that face and hair. I mean, it's just...
Someone, Antoine, wanted to know if there was gold leaf in there. It's hard to tell. It's just from the way
that's a really good question.
Can't tell that it is, but definitely it was laid down with a.
And there's something.
Palette knife, yeah.
So I'm bringing this to OAX, so please come by and look at it.
Oh no!
Yeah, no.
I was.
But there's something magical about the hair. Like it looks stiff, but there's, I don't know. It's it's great. So this is Ben Brady, the guy we were talking about earlier. We've been studying DeSantos. He did this for me as a gift, and again, for someone to do this kind of work on a trading card is still incredible to me. I love it. And the Phoenix Force outfit.
A little bit of magic with like a Thunderdome, Australian.
Yeah, right. Hey, look. Whatever she needs, that arm gives her, and
that's true. Yeah. So, in Australia, that's what she'd need. Yeah.
Yeah. That's exactly right. It's wild down there. But I just love it. He really I think, captured kind of the version of magic I really like.
Totally just curious, Justin. Is this on your stock? Did he have
it? Is on my SpideyHits stock.
Yeah, that's important enough to you that you send it to Australia and had it sent all the way back. Yep.
100%. Okay, so this is a cool one. This is
that's
this
great.
Is Brianna Mora. She was an artist she was in 2022 Flair. She did trading card art, which we'll see we'll see some of that in a second. But she was on my channel. We developed a friendship, and really as a gift, because she doesn't do many of these, she offered to do a magic for me. And, it's just something extra special about that, right? And she took her time with it, and it came out beautiful.
It did. It's very good. Very, very good.
Blake likes it too. But she surprised me when she sent this. She sent the next image you're going to see. And it's this Mystique. In fact, actually,
that was on the box. This is we talked about this when it came out. It's crazy. Look at that.
So that's the Mystique on the box art, and you can see that's now she did this digitally.
Yeah.
The only thing that she did physically is she did what do they call it? Lord, I'm a terrible artist. She did like color work. She like tested colors. This is a technical name for it. So she recreated this for me personally. And this is actually not a great photo of it. It's not that dark. I didn't realize how dark this photo took whenever I snapped it. But
Justin, I'm dusting my brain off, but doesn't she mostly do digital?
Correct.
And isn't she near Orlando? Didn't we talk about her?
She's supposed to come to OAX, not as
good.
She's supposed to visit, as an attendee. I've invited her many times.
Yeah, let me know. We can give her a badge.
Yeah. Yeah, she does live in Orlando, and I'm really trusting that she'll make it. I hope to meet her in person.
Yeah.
Ranga's telling me to stay in my lane. Hey, this was a gift, Ranga, just to make you jealous.
There you go. There they are together.
Yeah, they are together. Yeah. The art is such a gift, isn't it, man? Oh, wow.
I mean, someone does mostly digital art, and then they pull out a beautiful, nuanced, shaded pencil piece for you.
Yeah.
It makes you a little angry.
Yeah.
That they don't do more traditional work.
Right.
Maybe I'm the old man, but that's the feeling I got. Like, come on.
Yeah.
This is nice.
This is Charlie Cody. Charlie Cody's been doing sketches for a while, and the first time I saw his work, I was just enamored. He like Bill, he's able to create light in a unique way, in my opinion. And he loves to do magic. And he agreed for me to send him this artist proof uncut. And I just told him to have fun with it. I give very little instructions whenever people do magic. I primarily will just say, don't over sexualize it. I don't like it when people over sexualize magic. In fact, if you really know her storyline, you would it doesn't really fit very well.
She's almost asexual.
Yeah. And so, I mean, her story, like in a way you can read her origin story as like, in some ways, like sexual abuse, she was, and so I don't like it when people do that. Anyways, I give very little instructions, all that to say that. And he sent me this and I was just blown away. It's not her portal, but you get kind of that same feel of her stepping through something. It's just fantastic.
Yeah. Explain. Cool. I'm so sorry. Explain the card to the people listening. Some people aren't familiar with this.
Yeah. So some of this older card stock, you have obviously your pack inserted cards, which are trading card size, but the artists were given these artist proofs, which were larger uncuts. Some of the uncuts were not artist proofs. They might've been like a case incentive or something like that. But you don't see this anymore.
Mm-hmm.
That's what this is. And this is the pack pulled Charles Cody.
I gotta look up their work. I'm not familiar with it, and I love both of those.
Yeah, please do. He went on a little bit of he kind of disappeared off social media for a little bit. This is actually kind of a fun story. So
did he owe people money?
You never know. You never know. I don't know anything about that.
NAR.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think that's true for him. I never heard that story.
Good.
Matt Fuller would know. But anyhow, like he had posted in like 2021 on Instagram, and then there was nothing. Right.
Oh wow.
So I would just periodically just send a message to Instagram saying, "Hey Charlie, if you're there, I'd love to get a piece from you," and get nothing. Well, one night at like, I don't know, something stupid like 1 a.m., 2 a.m., I send the message and he responds. He's like, "Well, that's odd, Justin. I'm getting back in the game. It's funny that you would message me right now." And I was like, "Yes, put me on the list." And he said, "You're number one." And that was the piece I got, the first one you saw. And this one I had to trade for.
You see, basically, Bill, what Justin's saying is that he prays a lot more than we do.
Look, I am nothing for prayer. I don't 100%. Never cease praying. That's for sure.
Charlie Cody official. Does that sound right, Justin?
It does sound right.
Yeah, there are 2 Charlie Cody pieces on CAF. So if you put your 2 up there, we will have double that amount. We'll have 4 pieces by Charlie on CAF, and they belong there. That's for sure.
The skill, the softness of the line, the cartooning, the resolution of the anatomy. I'm genuinely love this work.
Yes, this one is not his best. The one you're looking at here, it's not, and I adore it. And Bill, I have a third one. I have a Spider-Man behind. So.
All right. Well,
it needs to be on there too. If you'll accept these photos, I'll just upload these photos.
Well, they could maybe stand to be a little cropped and color corrected, but other than that, you're right. I mean, he's very talented, though. I'm looking at Weapon X image up on CAF. Yeah.
Imagine if to me the first thing I think of is this: if this guy did interiors, I'd want to write a story just for that artist.
Just to get that
tremendous.
And he's tried to tell me, like he's literally sent me an email of his method. And it's,
do you know where he lives? He lives in the States.
He lives in the States. I cannot remember where the address came from.
I hope he lives in New England. I'd like him to come to the IC3 show.
Yeah. Well, message him. Tell him you heard of him from me.
I will let you know if he replies.
It's funny you should send me a message. I'm getting back in the game.
That's so good.
Who's I can't remember who's
Aranja. Never heard of him.
This is the guy who doesn't know how to spell his own last name, right?
how could he? Wow, what a name. Look, I mean, you guys know, and it's hanging above my head here. You know, I had just the very fortunate honor of buying a piece at OAX last year that included a friend, and it's, you know, very few times that you meet somebody and you're like, yeah, like that's my dude immediately. And look, everybody probably has that experience with Oranga. Don't ruin it for me. It was my experience, and very fortunate that he was when I bought the OAX X-Men piece from him, he was like, he was really excited. He's like, let me do you a piece. What do you want? I was like, well, are you sure? He's like, yeah. I was like, well, I want a magic on an OAX blank. He's like, no, I'll do you something big. I was like, no, actually, I want it on this. He's like, no, dude, I'll do like 11 by 17. I was like, no, can you just do it right here on this trading card? He just couldn't quite understand why would I want something small. But he finally realized I'm a card guy, first and foremost. And then did this wonderful magic for me, which I just love.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Did he do this? He did this at OAX?
No, he took it home.
Yeah,
he took it home.
That makes me fantastic.
Was happy to wait for it. Yep.
Well, it's nice to see the OAX cards getting a lot of mileage.
Well, Oranga will be set up, of course, at OAX with an artist table this year. And are his pre-commissions still open, Bill? Does he have one left, I think? Was it one?
There's only one. Yeah. He had two options. One was sold out real early, and the other one has, I think, one spot left. But we're probably running out of time. That was it 18 by 24? I don't know how much time Oranga needs to do
Oranga, yeah, he'll do it. He'll do it.
I also got a larger Spider-Man piece from him. I recommend it. Do it.
Oranga call in sick at work for a couple of days to get the commission done. He has his priorities straight.
Right. Yep, he does. He's a great artist and a great friend. You'll get a piece of art and a friend. So how about that?
Whoa.
Yeah. So here's a prized possession, right?
Yeah.
Oranga just commented, but
no one cares. So.
Look, we everyone knows that's watching this knows who Joe Jusko is, and he did this piece for 2016 Marvel Masterpieces. So he did the 92 set. He was a solo artist on it. It came back in full force, original art in 2016, and Joe did it again. Whenever I first saw this on a card, it was one of my least favorite Magic cards. Oddly enough, it feels crazy to say that sitting here looking at the original art, but if you were able to kind of just look at that trading card, it really, you just didn't get the full effect. I went to Steve's house for the reveal of this art, and the art in person is unbelievable. I'll put my hand up right now and say I'm hit or miss with Joe's art. There's a lot of it that I love, a lot of it that I'm like, it's fine. I certainly respect the man. The colors for this set in person are, it almost looked fake. It was so vibrant. Yeah. And look, whenever I first saw this painting itself, just to be completely transparent, I sold my Amazing Fantasy 15 comic book to buy it. Like that's, I mean, I didn't have that kind of money laying around because I wasn't thinking I'd be buying something like this. Make
sure you don't take that tape off the bottom. All right.
Yeah, not in Joe's site. I will not do that. But it's really kind of incredible to just I have it sitting up in next to my TV, and the way this thing just glows is just unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. And it reminds me of my wife. I know you've heard me say that a number of times now, but I mean, when I first met her, she had blonde hair and bangs. So it's pretty uncanny, the similarity.
Well, and you could tell from the videos when they did the reveal of all this, how colorful all those pieces were. To see them all together like that, it's really hard to get that impression otherwise. But I wish it'd be great to see a lot of these in the same room in a gallery setting, because
this one will be at OAX as well.
So we get to see that. Okay, great.
And let everyone enjoy it.
Wow. Let's see.
Yeah, so this is from Marlo Martis. He is a sketch card artist, pretty prolific for Marvel trading cards. This is on a Fleer throwback set, and I love his style. Again, I like kind of the more toned down version of Magic, where it's not so over the top, and he did a great representation of that here.
That's very easy to like.
I mean, I like her more modern costume as well. That most people are doing her style in, but I love going back to more of the New Mutants style costumes.
Bill, you probably relate to this. There are pieces where you don't think that they're on a sketch card when you first see them. You don't really have a sense of it at all. There's no like little residual thing or a little affect or a limitation that comes through. If this was 9x12 or something, I don't even think about it, you know?
Right. Well, I mean, just having gone through the whole mystery sketch cycle in November, this could easily be a colored mystery sketch from Next Comic Art, and I wouldn't think anything different of it. Yet it's only 3.5
and it just
inches
fills a spot in a 9-page binder. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Yeah, put a quarter next to the pictures. Yeah, I probably should do that. But if you think about that, that's my kitchen table, and that's just the little grain line in the table that you see it sitting on. Yeah, so this is I can't remember, Victros, I think is how he says his name. This side's
it's more evil sounding. It's like Viskratos.
Yes, there you go.
Scandinavian metal by Greece.
He's a sketch artist that people are really excited about. And I like this side. I like what's going on here, but it's really
very anime with the face.
He did, but it's really like the back of the card that I really like. This is a Premiere sketch, and Premiere, they typically, this is what you would call like I think this is a triple panel sketch. The backside, they do sketches on the front and back, and the backside that I really like.
So are these not cut, or
no?
There's a group.
You technically can fold them into a booklet, but
they fold. They fold.
To fold them is that would upset a lot of people.
One of the coolest things when you see them in person is you're like, wow, this is incredible. And then you flip it over and you're like, wow, this is incredible. And normally for us, if we see art on two sides of something, it kind of frustrates us. But with these like triple cards, with these enlarged cards, it really works.
Yeah, it does.
It makes it like an object, a different kind of object.
It's a different way to appreciate and collect. I mean, it certainly is.
Obviously, there's going to be some of these at OAX that I could see, right? Because I just don't have a real good feel for scale and what that's like.
I'll bring it so you can see it. But let's look at the other side of it. There you
Interesting. Go. Yeah.
So you can kind of see on the right-hand side, that's like the size of a trading card. And then you can kind of see it's kind of like three trading cards put together, but they're connected. And so for Premiere this year, they do a single trading card size, a dual panel, triple panel, and a quad panel, and then a 5x7. And I've got one of each for Magic, except for the 5x7. I'm still working on that. So it's like a kind of mini set, right?
James getting excited with the Berkey language.
But so these are when you get them though, they're folded, right? They're folded when you get them. So
no, they're not. They come in a big metal tin.
So it's when you're buying the box. So it's
yes.
Okay. Now I got it. That makes so much sense.
It's like this is like a black label experiential. You better film it and post it type of pack.
I get it. Now that's why those are such an event. All right, it makes.
And I have them around here somewhere, but
cool.
Well,
Justin keeps spare ones around for rainy days.
I like to keep an example of every box, you know,
of the box. Yeah,
I'm not psycho crazy about stuff, but I do like have a few things.
Okay.
So here's the master himself, Simone Bianchi. This one's kind of cool because I got this at OAX. It was not a commission. I had actually had a commission for a Ghost Fighter by Simone. And I picked it up, filmed a little piece with Simone with it, walked around the corner, and someone else had gotten this piece from Simone. And we were basically like, hey, let's look at each other's. And as soon as I saw it, I said, I'll trade you. And he took one look at mine and said, deal. And we just traded instantly. It was an instant trade. And it's really an awesome piece.
Did you know the person you traded with before?
I knew him. Sure did. They're another trading card fan, and they had commissioned with Simone just like I did.
Wow.
I think right now Simone's doing $900 for a trading card commission for OAX.
Yeah,
which I think was cheaper than we paid last year. It feels like somebody's getting a deal. But
Euro's doing better.
Love it. But super thrilled to have this. This is Peach Momoka. I got this from our grand Matt DiTilio. And just to be able to own a Peach Magic with her little Mickey ears, as I think she calls them, is a lot of fun.
Nice. Matt's enabling collectors in so many ways, and with artists from so many continents.
That's a great card. Just simple design and motifs and things.
That's great kind of style, But it's Peach. What do you do?
We need when we see Jiggy at OAX, let's talk to him about an entire next comic art sketch card show, because I think that his crew would kill it. I mean, like 15 next artists doing it would be amazing.
Mm-hmm.
We'll have Justin help curate the stock.
Yeah, happy to do it.
I like it.
So I don't know this artist personally. Okay. So I get a message from a friend. He's like, hey, I have an up and coming artist that's been, they're doing art for Upper Deck now. Do you want one? And I was like, yeah, I'll take one. Wait 5-6 months, whatever it was. And I get mailed this. And I'm like, I love it. I don't know. I don't even know how to describe why I like it so much, but it's just it's different. Now it's kind of unique. It's on this Rogues Gallery metal set, which got canceled. So now the only cards of Rogues Metal Gallery that'll ever be out are these AP sketch cards. So
this makes me want to go look at like 30 other images from this artist. This is this is partly just, again, personally, sometimes I like Marvel, DC iconic characters because I can see an artist like this, and I've seen 10,000 images of Magic because I've obsessively looked at Magic art for 30 plus years, right? And I can see this, and I can just pick up so much stuff unique to this artist from it in a way that I couldn't do it if it was flowers or it was something unrelated.
Yeah. There's I mean, you know what it's like to order a commission, but this was like this is about as blind as the commission as I could get. It's almost like blind dating, right? Like I just kind of trusted the guy that reached out to me, and I was just blown away when I got it.
No, it's great.
Unfortunately,
It is.
all the art he did for the set will never be released now. Only these APs that got out, and he may have only had 3 or 4 of them. You know, not many. Yeah, so this is a quad panel. I told you I had a little set that I was doing for Magic. And this is just, to me, a really fun one here. And this is from Vincent, I think his name is. But
Vicente Moavero.
Moravera, yeah, that's right. But it's just cute, I guess, is a word I'll use for it. Quad panel premiere. It's got a fun front and back to it, like they're at school. I'll get their backpacks on.
The 90s.
Yeah, here they are again. Again, it's just, you know, fun little storytelling with it. It's a version of Magic I don't have, which, you know, mix it up, and you start to get quite a few of them. It's nice to kind of mix up the vibe and the style. So to have one with her with having, you know, reading glasses on, it's kind of fun. Oh yeah, I was doing a close up because the eyes just blew me away. I remember that's why I did this. Just good, clean art.
Now you're ending with a Gist.
Yeah, so I got to meet Gist for the first time at a Texas show, and he was awesome to really meet and get to know. I ordered this commission from him. I think when I ordered it from him, it was supposed to just be a smaller commission, but by the time he got done with it, it was this full body pen and ink commission here at Venom. And to me, this should be on the cover of a comic book or something. You know, he's obviously a great cover artist, and maybe he's just working as a cover artist so much it just oozes out of him now, even in commissions. But yeah, Manu knows this Venom. He was around when I first got it, and you know, the thing that I've enjoyed the most about being a collector and a content creator, because those are just completely connected to me. They're the same thing, you know. They're not separate from me. As weird as that may sound to others, they're both a part of the same thing for me and my hobby. But one of the things I love the most about it is the fact that I get to make connections and relationships and get to know these artists, and to get to know Eric and to own a piece from him has been really awesome. And I didn't tell him what to do. I just like, hey, whatever you're feeling, just go for it. I have noticed, I was thinking about this week, that if I tell people that, they tend to come back with Venom. David Fitch did the same thing. He knows I'm a Spidey guy and Magic. He still came back with a Venom, but I guess Venom's just that much fun to draw, right? You can be kind of loose and creative with it, right? But just an incredible piece.
Yeah, that came out wonderful. And like Stingray says, he's a great painter, but seeing his work in black and white is nice.
It's fun. It is fun.
There isn't much out there that I've seen before, and I like it.
Well, I'm kind of glad he chose Venom for that reason, because even if he painted, it'd be black and white, you know?
Right.
It works. And, you know, he does that. It's not much. It's just that little extra that he's doing, like the coming out off of his hands, and it's just cool.
In a way, Eric's will be at OAX because Lewis will be having an exhibitor booth inside CAX, and is going to have Eric sending him a lot of art and paintings to have at the booth. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I hope we can make it to OAX eventually, though.
It's I guess it's booked.
Yeah.
We're making 26 announcements now, Bill.
Yeah.
I know somebody emailed me something the other day, and I was like, "We're already planning 2026 and 2027." It's
The
and it's true.
26 list has more than 25 confirmed artists on it
Wow.
already. Yeah.
You just work that hard, Casper? You just
All of
work
us,
through
all of us.
25?
Honestly, we had too many artists for 25 and we moved some of them to 26. That's part of the reason. And then a lot of people wanted to make the show this year, and 26 was better. And we said, well, you're locked in, 100% locked in. And possibly Joe Jusko. We'll just say possibly Joe Jusko. So.
Yeah, that would be cool. That would be great. 2025 is going to be great by itself. We'll enjoy 2026 later. But
We have 75, the last that I counted, Bill, artists. Might
Yeah,
be
I counted it
76.
today after I added on Devin's artists. We're showing 71 on the website right now.
Yeah. So yeah, it's about 75.
Manu says, fun fact, I own Justin's first sketch card, and it's Venom. And he's right. I'm pretty sure I wrote that on the card.
I'm going to ask you here, like OAX, you're going to be set up with an exhibitor booth yourself at CAX, and you've talked about a few pieces that you're going to bring, but I haven't asked you at all. Do you have any plans for the booth and what you're going to bring? And
I mean, I think the plans for me is to bring a few pieces of art. I will be traveling with, quite like 4 people in the same car. So, there'll be only room for so much. But most of what I'll bring will be my.
Take one of the people out. Yeah.
Most of what I'll bring will be cards and card art for people to enjoy. There'll be, maybe there'll be something for people to purchase. It just depends on what I have when that day gets here. But most of all, just for people to enjoy and stop by and say hello. And I'll probably do a couple of free sketch cards in advance to just give away or something like that, just for fun. But it's not too much. There's going to be so many other incredible artists there that, it'll be better if people go get sketches from them.
Well, we have a special gallery again this year, specifically for CAX, and there'll be seating in there inside the gallery, and Justin will be doing a lot of live streaming and interviews in that room too. So we'll have the event up, we'll have the info up, the times, hopefully, at least a week in advance of the show. We'll include it in the brochure. We'll try to fit it in.
For me, you have somebody coming with you, Justin? I mean, are you just packing up your booth when you have to do the shows?
No, I'm bringing one, if not 2 people with me to help watch.
So you can't kick anybody out of the car then. You need everybody.
Well, I put him next to Lewis. So you think anyone's going to mess with Lewis? Lewis can monitor 5 booths at the same time.
He can. I mean, look, if we had the crowd we had last year, I felt completely safe in that room. Maybe I'm being gullible and naive, but I did. But for me, I don't want to be at the booth the whole time, just to be frank. I feel like my job is to, in some ways, there are people who could come but can't because of life. There are some people who can't come because of physical limitations or financial limitations. And I want to be able to create content that they can enjoy as if they were there.
Of course.
And so I want to have just really authentic walk around content, conversations, views of, the show and really capture that and have it where people can enjoy it. But also for 2026, 2027, when people are thinking, should I go, they can go back and find content and go, you know what, that is a kind of show that I want to go visit. So to me, that's number one. Number 2 is to help facilitate some of the, live stream and interviews and things like that will serve the artists and CAX and OAX, as much as I can as well.
Well, we appreciate that. I mean, you created a lot of great content from last year's show. So Yeah, it's easy for us to direct people over to your channel and let people, when they're curious about what OAX is, and say, you can watch that and you can get a good feel for what it was like to be on the floor.
I think that's awesome. I don't know if I ever shared with either one of you one of my favorite funny moments from last year was with Dave Wexler, West Coast Avenger.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
we're it's Saturday, so it's day one. We're coming down the elevator, and it's me and him. Dave has a very particular look about him, and there's this family that's going to the swimming pool, I think, or something like that. They're not there for OAX, okay? And they look over at Dave and look over at me, and they're like, well, oh, what are y'all here for? And I thought, this is my chance. So I said, oh, we're here for the original Art Expo. And he's not going to admit it, but this is Dave Wexler, one of the world's leading artists. Oh, and immediately he goes, no. And I said, see, I told you he's just too bashful. But in all seriousness, when we walk out of this elevator in a minute, I'm going to need you guys to form like a human shield, or people are going to mob him pretty quickly. Could you do that for me? And they agreed. He's watching this whole time, because the more he denied it, the more they believed it. Because I set it up and said that's what was going to happen.
Knowing Dave, top 5 moment of his life.
Oh, it was great. It was.
That's hilarious.
It was funny.
Yeah. I was afraid you were going to say that the elevator got stuck.
No, thank God that didn't happen. No.
That's where I thought that was going to. But
some people get stuck on the elevator.
Yeah, it happened a few times. Yeah, they had trouble the first day. Yeah,
that elevator next to the door, the entrance to OAX, it looked like it was getting worn out. So
yeah, that was the one. They're fine now.
The other tower.
All right. I think I really thought it was going to take 3 hours. That was easy. That was easy.
You got any hard hitting questions that you've been waiting to ask me?
Oh God. Oh gosh. No, thank you though. No, thank you. Just I hope you have plans for Christmas and your family. Well wishes to you and the Underwood clan.
We stay at home for Christmas. We're gonna go see Nosferatu that night.
Oh, that's interesting.
We always look. My wife is a huge horror fan. She loves that stuff. So we'll.
She's seen the Klaus Kinski, Isabella Gianni, Werner Herzog version of Nosferatu. Probably then.
Honestly, I don't know.
Maybe I'll bring that down. You can just take that back home with you.
Yeah, Yeah, that's kind of her thing.
Demons. That's that's cool. I didn't even know that movie was out there until today. I happened to see a preview for it.
Hearing good things. So.
Same.
Well, I can never pick the movie for Christmas again, because I convinced her to go see Wonder Woman 2 with me on Christmas Day. I don't know if either one of y'all went to go see that. It's one of the worst movies ever made. It's so bad.
I did take my daughters to it, and I would agree it was one of the worst DC movies I've seen.
And long and terrible. Oh, it's just god awful.
It wouldn't end.
One of the worst DC movies you've ever seen. I mean, that's
saying something.
That's pretty bad.
Yeah.
I remember
it was like, why did they even make it? It didn't even.
I thought it was just a whatever movie. I don't remember. Like I heard Aquaman was horrible. I didn't watch it. Heard it was terrible.
I hate to say I actually liked Aquaman.
You liked it, see?
It's like, it wasn't great, but it wasn't garbage.
I don't know. I
have to commend Tony Pernick, because he told me earlier today that he was just gonna just razz you all show, Justin, and he kind of minded his manners in the chat.
I know. I was expecting that too. Maybe I just missed it in the comments.
Yeah, he's being very reserved. He's saving it up for OAX, since you guys are you're in the same hall essentially.
Oh yeah, I can't wait to meet Tony in person. I'm really looking forward to that.
All right, Justin. My dog has been bothering me the last 30 minutes to take her out. I didn't expect that. So thank you
guys for having me. really adore your channel and the content you make, and being able to learn more about original art. I learn every time. I learn something every time I turn it on. And but more importantly, I've really enjoyed getting to know kind of the people in your community and really expanding those relationships there. It's been really awesome.
Stingray is going to regale you with the history of Stingray at OAX, so you have something to look forward to there.
I mean, it can't take too long, right? Just a few minutes, but I am looking forward to it.
Let's do this. Perna's being polite. Stingray, good show, gents. The make sure you go to Spidey Hits for all the hard hitting Upper Deck DC card news in 2025.
How often do you think I get asked, are you going to be making DC content? It's yeah, look, it's okay that there's a Marvel card specific channel. It doesn't mean that someone else can't make the DC stuff, right?
Oh no. I'm sure you're going to cover some of the cool stuff anyway. Yeah.
Here's what I will cover. I'll cover the impact that it has on Marvel cards.
So you're not going to cover very much.
Yeah, I think it is relevant.
Let's call it a Marvel card collector and Batman. Just Batman in parentheses. Yeah.
Does Bill know what DC stands for on the Spidey Hits channel?
There's going to be a lot of memes going around, I think, with a clip of you saying that every time. Yeah.
I do not know what it means, Justin.
I jokingly say DC stands for don't care on the Spidey Hits channel.
Jokingly.
I'm not a DC guy, Justin, so don't care. I
love Batman.
I like that.
No one can deny. Look, in fact,
absolutely. Yeah, when we look at your room, no one can deny it at all.
I have a whole box of DC.
Oh, wait.
There's not one Batman.
There's a whole box of Batman in there.
Okay, it's in a box. Bury it in the backyard.
Hey, I got it.
Who's that?
I know who that is. Anyways.
Oh boy.
Thought that was Red Hood. I just realized that was Nightwing. This is the one I was looking for. Here it is. This is the one.
Keeps it close.
Oh, that's wow.
Mm. There's actually a review of this figure on my YouTube channel. Mm. So, anyways, it doesn't mean that there's not love for DC. It just means that's not what the channel's for. So.
We get it.
It'll be interesting. It'll be so interesting to see those Upper Deck brands on DC. Honestly, I'm beyond curious and also really looking forward to it. So, all right.
It'll be fun.
Merry Christmas.
Well, thank you for having me, Cassera. Much love as always.
It's a pleasure, Justin. And yeah, thank you for taking the time right before the holidays to hang out with us. And everybody in the chat too. 2 more days until Christmas. So hopefully your stockings are filled with comic art of some kind, but they certainly could be filled with sketch cards. They do fit.
100%. Yeah. I hope I get to see everybody at OAX. Please come by and say hello. Please tell me your name when you do. That way I know who I'm talking to. I would appreciate that very much. And hope you all have a marvelous Christmas.
Yeah, we should let Justin do the sign off. Do you mind?
No, not at all. Please do, Justin.
Hey, everybody, if you enjoyed this video, do me a favor and hit that like button. If you want to see more original art content in the future, make sure you hit that subscribe button. This is the only place to get original art for comic books on YouTube. But as always, I hope you have a marvelous day.